You're listening to the Balanced Educator Podcast, episode number 42.
Welcome to the Balanced Educator. We're your hosts, Kailey
and Josiane from EduCalm. Our intention is to equip and empower you to feel more calm, balanced, and joyful in all aspects of your life. Hey everyone, welcome to the Balanced Educator Podcast. Welcome to new and old listeners, to binge listeners. Welcome to all. If you haven't done so yet, we invite you to subscribe so that we can connect with you every Monday when our new episodes come out. Also want to take a second to thank everyone who has taken the time to leave us a review lately. I can't even begin to explain how much it means to us when you take a minute of your time to leave us a review. It really makes the podcast. It really makes it possible. It gives us that wanting to continue, and it makes a big difference in us reaching our goals of growing our podcast audience. So thank you so much. And so if you haven't done so yet, go ahead right now and leave us a review in iTunes. So this week we are talking about how Kailey is implementing classroom management and routines in her classroom, and she gives a lot of really useful and concrete tips that you can start applying right away in your classroom. I even felt like I learned so much from Kailey, and Kailey and I talk all the time, but she taught me a lot of little tricks that she uses that I'm going to use also. Now, before we get started, our workshop on November 9th was a really big success, and a lot of you couldn't make it just because the budget wasn't there or whatever, and you asked for a second one. So on January 10th of 2019, we will be offering a second workshop opportunity. So if you are interested in learning how to start a mindfulness practice in your classroom, the what, why, how, and learning exactly how to use EduCalm Classroom and how you can link it to your curriculum, you can join us on January 10th, 2019. It'll be an afternoon workshop, and with the total of this workshop is included a year subscription to EduCalm Classroom and École EduCalm. So this workshop is in Winnipeg. This one will be in English. And if you are interested in joining, you can go to www.educalm.com/EduCalm Classroom PD. And EduCalm is spelled EduCalme. And now let's head over to Kailey's tips and tricks. All right. So Kailey, you've been teaching for a little while now, grade 5, new grade, new school, new position, new everything for you really, coming from high school, then middle school, and now here we are in grade 5. Can you tell me what your routine with your class looks like to start?
Yes. Okay, I'll start at the beginning. And I first have to say thank you so much for being my coach on this, because every time I'm like, okay, this thing I've been trying isn't working, or like, this is the struggle I'm having. Like, what should I do? And you always have such good ideas. Like, the first thing is my group, it has tons of energy. So focusing and listening to instructions and just having a calm energy is like, has been difficult. So the first thing that you told me to do, you're like, just turn off the lights. Like have the lights off.
So simple.
So
I don't think too complicated. I keep it simple.
Yeah. You're like, just turn off the lights. And I was like, oh, yeah. I'll just turn off the lights. So that's what I do. I come into my classroom in the morning. First thing, I arrive to school early. I take 5 minutes in my car to myself before going in to just breathe, do like a short little, just connecting to how I'm feeling, allowing myself to calm down. And then I set my intention for the day. So I decide like, what is it that I want to create today? Or what is it that I want to notice today? And I just decide that that's what I'm going to notice. Like, I'm going to really notice the funny things today. I'm going to really notice. And I mentioned this in, I can think 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just set my intention, or like, today I'm going to really love the heck out of my students. Like, I'm just going to love
that's beautiful.
them. And like, no matter what happens, I'm going to love them unconditionally. And, so I set my intention. I go into my classroom, I turn off the lights, and then I actually managed to grab 2 lamps that were kicking around the school that ended up being perfect. And literally, I was going to go buy some lamps, and it was exactly what I wanted. The vice principal had these lamps in his office that he wanted to get rid of, and I was looking for 2 lamps.
Isn't that funny?
Isn't that hilarious?
Oh man.
So they're perfect. So yeah, I turn on my lamps. I have the les rideaux, the
curtains.
The curtains. Bilingual brain. I'm back.
Classic.
I'm back to speaking French all day, so I'm like more in bilingual brain. So yeah, I like have the curtains open so that natural light can come in. And then another thing that I was struggling with in my routines with my students was just getting them to like, okay, this is our routine. Like step 1, step 2, step 3. And you're like, put it up on the smartboard, and this way they can read what the steps are. And that has been so helpful. It's crazy. So yeah, I just put up the daily routine. And it's like, take off my jacket, put on my shoes, sit at my spot.
Very transparent.
Yeah, like every single thing.
Yeah.
And that's been really nice because I see them looking to the board for like, what's my next step? Like I can see how well that works for them. And because it's dark in the classroom and the only real light is the light of the projector on the smartboard, it's the thing that their eye gets drawn to. So we have our routine of getting ready, and then it's O Canada and the morning announcements. And right after that, I've started giving them 5 minutes. So I work in a country school. So my students sometimes are on the bus for like an hour in the morning. So a lot of them get to school and they're starving. So I give them 5 minutes to have a snack. Cause otherwise it's like, they're like, Madam, I'm hungry. Can I have a snack? And
also,
they can't make it to snack.
You can't learn until your basic needs are met, right? Like Maslow's pyramid.
Exactly. Like we all know how hard it is to concentrate when we're hungry.
Oh my goodness,
so, like,
you're talking to the queen of hanger.
Yeah. we both get hanger. Okay, my day is 90% dependent on the quality of the lunch that I bring. Like if I don't bring a good lunch to school, it's chaos. Like for me in my emotional state, like I really need good food to be emotionally stable. And so, yeah, I get it. I totally get it that the students need their snack. So I give them the time for the snack. And then I have a timer up on the board, and once the timer runs out, they're expected to be back in their seats, ready for their EduCalm practice. So that's been working super well.
That's a great idea.
Because I use timers a lot, and I've always done that as a teacher. I find it really helps because kids, if you say, okay, you have 5 minutes to do this, like that, they have no concept of time.
Yeah.
Most adults don't have concept of time. So yeah, just having that visual really helps because then they start going like, oh, there's only 30 seconds left. Okay, I better put my lunch away. And of course I'm reminding them and congratulating those that are ready on time, and the positive reinforcement really gets the other ones wanting to be ready on time as well. So that's been really helpful. So, right after snack, we do our EduCalm practice. So everyone sits at their spots. Now, I have to say this took me 2 weeks for sure to nail down what works for this group. So with my last students, sitting in a circle was the best way to do our mindfulness practice. And that worked really well for them. So of course, that's what I tried first with this group.
Yeah.
Okay, let's all go sit on the carpet in our circle. And I did that for about 3 days, and it was utter chaos. Like they didn't stop talking for a second. They literally were like throwing things, and I was like, what is going on right now? Like, oh my gosh, this is the opposite of what we're aiming for.
Okay, let's keep in mind though also that like you came in after like you didn't come in first day of school. It's a little different when you're coming in like midway through the year.
Yeah.
So just wanted to say that too, that like have a little compassion with yourself, because like it's not like you were able to set the tone the first minute of school, right?
Exactly.
You just came in later.
Also, I knew from the first day of subbing with them that it was probably going to become a term. And so in my mind, I was like, okay, well, we're going to start working on our routines today. But my students still saw me as a sub for 2 whole weeks after that. So for those 2 weeks of chaos, they were thinking in their mind like, oh, like,
she's going to leave.
They didn't even know. Like I would tell them, yeah, I'm going to be here again tomorrow. And then at one point I was able to say, yeah, I'm going to be subbing all week next week. But yeah, before they knew that I was going to be their actual teacher, it was really hard to instill routines. Right?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, the first couple weeks like didn't work, but one thing that I've been reminded of a lot is like when I was training my dog and like, okay, this is just, like when I was training my dog, the book that I used to like learn how to train animals always would say, if your dog does something that you don't want them to do, like, okay, if your dog eats your favorite shoes, don't punish the dog. Like, slap yourself on the wrist because you never should have left those shoes out there for your dog to have the option to eat, right? Your dog doesn't know any better. So it's not your dog's fault. It's up to you to create the circumstances in which your dog can thrive. So create the environment where they can't make mistakes. So that's really been my mindset in this, is when something doesn't work, it's like, okay, it's not their fault. It's up to me to figure out what is going to work. So I've just been seeing it as like a series of experiments and figuring out, and as I get to know them better, figuring out what works.
That's a great perspective to take.
Yeah.
That you're like, it's just an experiment. Like it makes it like all seem more light.
Yeah.
It lightens the situation.
Yes, exactly. It really helps to go, that it's just, this is a thing. We're figuring out what's going to work best.
But okay, so now like we're like 7-8 weeks later. What's it looking like in your classroom?
So now I've learned that what works best with my class is minimal transitions. So once they're at their spots, they've had their snack, we do our EduCom practice at their spots. Another thing that I've recognized is it's very helpful for my students, and now that I know them better, I know what each of them needs to have success during that practice, and to help them to give everyone in the class the opportunity for calm during their EduCom practice. So I have a couple of students that are in rocker chairs. I have a couple students that sit on cushions. A few of them, they draw during the practice. I don't let them read during the practice because, and we had this conversation, is that, when you're reading, like you tune everything else out.
I do.
And I mean, I think most people do. Like our brain can't read and listen at the same time. It's not possible. So reading isn't an option, but I do allow them to color, as long as like it's part of the routine that they have to have their paper and their markers or whatever they're going to use out before I press play. If they don't have the supply out before I press play, like they can't go back in their desk to get something else, because when they're jostling around, it disturbs the others. So, we know what we need for our practice. We're ready. And then I press play. and we do the practice. Now, we've been building up. So every day got a little bit better, slightly better, and then like regression. Like it was, the kids were talking. They were like, it wasn't
like
it's not linear.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah.
I think, and which is so normal with kids, right?
Exactly. And that's another thing I had to learn was like, okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
But one thing that's been really helpful actually is to have it as like a challenge. So what I did one day, once we got to the point that they were doing pretty good, and I was like, okay, I understood that they need to sit at their spots. I need to give them some tools. And now this is the circumstance that they are capable of listening for the whole practice. So what I did was after the practice, I said, okay, everyone put your head down on the table, close your eyes. Now be honest, raise your hand if you talked during that practice. And then they were honest. They raised their hand. I said, okay, so that was about half of you guys. All right, let's see if we can do better tomorrow.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Like you're not making them feel bad about it. Nothing.
No, I was just like, okay, yeah, that was about half of you guys. Yeah, it's hard to not talk for a whole 5 minutes, but like a lot of you guys did it. Good job for those that did it. And for those that didn't, like we get to try again tomorrow.
I love that.
Yeah.
You never told me that before. What's going on here?
Well, we don't always have the chance to debrief after every day. And I try a lot of things. Like I said, experimenting.
Yeah.
Like I'm experimenting with things constantly. So yeah, we did that. And then the next day we did it again. Okay, heads down, close your eyes. Now who talked today? And then the next time there was like maybe like a quarter of the class. So only a small handful of students that raised their hand. I said, okay, great job. Those that like were seeing progress, that's really good. Those of you that did talk, okay, we get to try again tomorrow. And then the next day, they actually all were quiet the whole time and they were so proud of themselves. And so we talked about like, okay, if they're curious to try the English one, because we do the French one every day. So it's like Josiane's in our classroom every day. So I get to hear her voice every day.
I have to say it's been I've had to get used to hearing my own voice. Like at first it was like not calming for me to hear my own voice, but now I'm getting used to it.
Yeah. Well, I love it. And my students like it. It's so funny. They were curious about the English one.
Yeah.
And so on the day that they were all quiet, I was like, guys, that was so good. And then the next day was Friday. So we did the English version and then they were quiet again because they were like curious to hear it. And it was so funny, Joe, because a few of the kids were like, they were discussing which version they liked better. And there's a few that like, I like the French version better. I was like, oh my God, that's so cute.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome for immersion students, right? Yeah.
Yeah. For immersion students to prefer the French version. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Okay. So funny. My students, like I was doing the practice for, I don't know, 2 weeks already. And all of a sudden, one kid's like, Madame, is that your voice? I wonder how long it took them to realize.
Yeah. Well,
and then they, I don't know. It was so funny.
My kids did that too, because I always I have it up on the smartboard. So, and there's like a picture of us, but they didn't notice that it was us for a while. And then one day a kid was like, wait, Madame, is that you in the picture? Wait, did you make this? And I was like, yeah. And they were very excited that I made it. And then pretty quickly we're like, can we be on your website?
Oh, that's adorable.
Can we make an EduCom audio? And I was like, yeah, we're gonna do a project on this.
And now we're working on that project.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited to start it. So, yeah, so that's, so then as soon as we're done the guided practice, we do the booklet. So, and that's our French period. So we do, it's a writing activity for them. So what I'm actually doing, we we have the question, and then I demonstrate my answer. So on the smartboard, so it's kind of the like I do, and you taught me this.
Yeah, the I do, we do, you do.
Yeah, exactly. So we read the question together, and then some of the words that I'm not sure if they'll know what it means, we talk about what the words mean. And then I say, and I like talk my thinking out loud. So I'm like, oh, okay, like what am I grateful for today? Or like, like I really show them what my process is. And then I write it out, the things that I want them to recopy, like the part of the sentence that everyone will write the same. I write it in red. And then when the part where I insert my answer, I write it in blue. And then, so then they know like, okay, I copy the sentence here. And then this is the part that I have to create my own. So, after I've demonstrated mine, then it's time for them to write theirs. And as they're writing, I just go around and I go like, oh, interesting. Okay, that's a really, and it's really nice because I get to know them better. So I just circulate, and sometimes I'll give little corrections because it is during our French time. So I give like little corrections on, their spelling, or if they didn't know the word in French, I'll prompt them, I'll help them, and so it's a chance for me to see where they're all at in their.
Also, you're teaching, because when you're showing them how to write the sentence, like that's a learning opportunity for them, right?
Yeah, exactly. I treat it as like a French lesson.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how we do it. And then after that, we, move on. So yeah, that is our routine. And then a couple other things that we've been doing is just during transition times. And one thing I just wanted to mention too is like I tried doing a sharing circle after, and it just didn't work.
It's just not the group for it.
Yeah, it's just not the group for it. And at first I was kind of sad about that because I really enjoy that part of it. And in the past, I just really thought that was a nice way to like create community, but they just weren't able to listen to each other. And it just became like a battle, and people felt bad because people were talking during their turn.
With this mindfulness practice, eventually you may be able to get there, right?
Exactly.
Because they'll have more self-awareness around all of that.
And yeah, and I'm already seeing them, like, it's so cool to see. Like, I'm already seeing improvement. I'm already seeing more compassion, more kindness, more empathy, and so I think we will get there. But right now we're not there yet,
which is okay. Growth mindset.
Exactly. We will get there, but we're not there yet. So I give the reflection time as the writing activity rather than a sharing circle. So yeah.
That works. Just whatever works for you.
Yeah, it's different with every group. So yeah, that's our core practice. That's our EduCalm practice. And then we're using the language for returning to calm throughout the day. So if I'm giving a lesson and, they start getting chatty, then my cue for them to come back, and thank you to Carolina that gave us this idea, is I put one hand on heart, one hand on belly, and I start taking deep breaths. And then they know that that's the cue to, okay, let's refocus. And then I use because after introduction to mindfulness, we talk about mindfulness is like a flashlight. It helps you to notice one thing at a time. And we talked about how our brain can't do more than one thing at a time. So whatever we're pointing our flashlight at, that's the only thing that our brain is learning. So a lot of times I can say, oh, guys, where are you pointing your flashlight right now? Or like, can you show me where you're pointing your flashlight? Where should we be pointing our flashlight right now? And
just using the vocabulary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another thing that I'm doing is before, like, they have a lot of energy after recess. So when I go outside to get them in their line after recess, we do 5-finger breathing before going inside. So it just helps to create that routine of like, okay, now it's time to get back to refocus. So the first, I guess, about 2 weeks, I guided the 5-finger breathing. And then now each student has a turn. So every day it's their turn to guide the class.
Involving them.
Yeah. And they love it. They love like teaching it and leading it. So.
And those who don't know, we have a 5-finger breathing poster and also a guided mindfulness practice in our free resources. So the Balanced
Balanced Educator free resources.
I don't even know what I said. And where can they find that?
So if you just go to educalm.com/the Balanced Educator, then you will find that in our free resources library. So yeah, that's pretty much our day. And that's our routines right now.
I feel like you shared a lot of like little takeaways that I'm excited. I didn't even know you were doing some of these things in the classroom, and I'm excited to use some of these ideas. So thank you very much.
You are welcome.
I know that I took away quite a few little tips from this episode, and I hope you did too. So your exit ticket for today is to go to iTunes and go review the podcast. So all you have to do is go to the iTunes podcast app and find the Balanced Educator Podcast, and then scroll right down to the bottom, and you should see a section that says ratings and reviews, and then click on write a review, and that's all you got to do. And you can make it short or long, doesn't matter. But every review really helps our podcast, no matter if it's short or long or whatever. So thank you so much for taking the time to do that. We really, really appreciate it. And we appreciate you. And we're so glad that you come back to listen to the Balanced Educator Podcast every week. So thank you. Now, what are we up to this week? We are getting ready for some workshops. We are both kind of in our report card mode right now, getting ready for parent-teacher conferences. That's, in our teaching positions, obviously, but we're pretty focused on that. We are also working on a project for EduCalm Classroom, and one that we want to use in our own classrooms. So putting the final touches on that, and continuing to work on some modules for EduCalm Classroom. Slowly but surely, they'll be coming out. Just want to thank you again for being here. We appreciate you so much, and may you have an awesome week.
Hey there, Balanced Educator. We appreciate you and the work that you're doing in the world. We are here to support you, so we've created a free resource library for you to use anytime you want. Resources for mindfulness for you and your kiddos at home or in the classroom. You can get these free resources by going to www.educalm.com/the Balanced Educator. Again, that's www.educalm, that's spelled educalme.com/the Balanced Educator. Thank you for being a part of our EduCalm community.